Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Lim Nakrin. So taking a look at some of the top stories that we're following right now, I want to turn you to the top story on AtlantaNewsFirst.com, which is the story of 3 people killed in a car crash that may involve a deadly Albany State University shooting. That's according to Georgia State Patrol. So 1 person was killed, 4 others were injured in this shooting on the university's campus on Saturday night, as we reported to you. And now officials have identified the victims. I encourage you, if you want to read more, go to AtlantaNewsFirst.com. But 4 people, including a 13-year-old girl from Albany, 2 high school students, and 20-year-old women, a 20-year-old woman, were all injured in this as well. So again, the major development here is that 3 people who died in this car crash in Albany early Sunday morning were possibly involved in the deadly mass shooting at Albany State University last weekend, according to Georgia State Patrol. We're going to continue to follow the latest on that story as it develops and bring you any updates as we learn more. You know, we've also been following the latest on the campaign trail as well, and making headlines today, Doug Emhoff has been in Georgia. So, you know, again, there's just been less than a week now. There's less than a week now, I should say, until, a little more than a week now. Let me correct that. Until Election Day. Vice President Kamala Harris, former President Donald Trump, of course, virtually neck and neck in Georgia, an important battleground state. Both campaigns have been frequenting the Peach State, vying for votes, and the second gentleman was in town. We've been seeing both campaigns certainly a lot lately, with the stakes being so high. And, you know, today the second gentleman made a stop in Sandy Springs at Pontoon Brewing to advocate for his wife, Kamala Harris, at his event. And he encouraged those at home to get out and vote in the next week. And the visit really is timely. It comes on the heels of Vice President hopeful J.D. Vance making a stop in Atlanta just the day before. And we brought you coverage of that as well. And obviously, it's a key battleground state, as we've been reporting to you here in Georgia, and could really decide the outcome of this vote. More than 2.5 million people have already voted in Georgia, shattering early voting records. And so candidates are certainly hoping the momentum is on their side. And one of the popular things that we've seen on social media is to post the I voted sticker. I'm sure that you've seen some of those. Well, there's so much initiative even in schools to get people to get out and vote and really raise awareness about your rights as a voter. So if you vote in DeKalb County, you could get a sticker designed by someone that you won't see at the polls. Atlanta News First reporter Josh Skinner is outside Druid Hills High School, and this is the work of a student there.
So this is a little embroidery I did.
But if it were up to Junior Charlie Anderson,
It's a very plump pigeon.
they'd be everywhere.
I've been birding since I was 8.
Anderson's love of all things foul even made it into her latest work, a contest to design the new I Voted sticker for DeKalb County.
I heard about it 2 days before it was due.
And despite the late start,
Is that what won?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
she won the contest and its $500 prize.
Stone Mountain in the background, the courthouse in the front, Southern Magnolia in the foreground with a dove. Some bald eagles because America.
Druid Hills Fine Arts Chair Stacy Allen was Anderson's 9th grade art teacher.
I wish I had 50,000 more students like her. Just cannot wait to vote. Well, yes, it's important to vote, but I'm excited to get the sticker.
I think sort of participating in your community and in your government in a way that supports what you care about is very important.
So while she won't be casting a ballot this November,
I am not of voting age.
you'll still see her spread her wings inside the polling station.
Skills, Miss Allen.
And of course,
Where's that $500 going?
Probably college.
Josh Skinner with that story. Thanks for his report. You know, we told you about a massive fire at a DeKalb County condo complex that left really now the few people who still have their home there living without water and without power. And it's been several weeks at this point. Atlanta News First reporter Blake Devine spoke to them and found out what they're doing to really cope during this time.
3 weeks ago, a massive fire broke out at this condo complex in Clarkston. Over 40 folks were displaced. Now this fence has been put up as only a handful remain.
It breaks your heart. It breaks your heart seeing people collecting just a little bit clothes or something.
Ever since that morning, Senata Soljic and her cats have been living life without power or running water, using a generator to cook food, charge her phone, and heat up her home.
I leave some light in the house, battery, because, I don't know, somebody can break in or something. It's scary.
21 days ago, this building was badly burnt, although the folks that live in those 4 remaining condos say that they've been living in third world country conditions ever since.
When I talk to my friends from Europe and I tell them which conditions I'm living in USA, they say, wow, like, is it possible? It is possible.
Soljic's neighbor, Karen Rothstein, has lent her a helping hand throughout these tough times.
I have gone out of the way to help Senata. She's come in, she's gotten water. I offered her my bedroom with my bathroom.
We called Soho Management, who works on behalf of the Ridge Creek Condominium Association, asking when the power and water will be switched back on. They were unable to provide us with any timetable.
The whole thing is just a tragedy. And I think that if they're renting, their people that they've rented from need to help them out.
Soljic says time is ticking as she tries to find a new place to live. Reporting in Clarkston, Blake Devine, Atlanta News First.
All right, let's turn now to a look at First Alert weather with First Alert meteorologist Cutter Martin. I mean, it has felt really comfortable.
It has.
And actually, some of the weekend felt warm, and I thought, is this really October? Late October?
I know. Record high temperature, in fact, yesterday and Saturday, 87, I should say Friday and Saturday. 87 degrees yesterday was the temperature. That was a record. 83 degrees on our Friday afternoon. That was also a record. Right now, you're looking at current temperatures, a far cry from the 80s. Temperature is much cooler outside this evening, and that's because we had a cool front move through, cold front, to be specific, and cooler air is now filtering back into North Georgia and metro Atlanta. Now, it's not cold. In fact, we're still running a little bit warmer than we typically would on any given, October 27th evening. But in general, not too bad out there. So do keep that in mind. We're cooler. Wouldn't call it cold. This cool snap, if you want to call it that, is really going to be brief here. With temperatures warming back up as we get into the middle of the coming work week. So again, I want to thank you for tuning in and for watching Atlanta News First Plus, here to keep you updated. If you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, now's a good time to remember that you can reach out on YouTube. Atlanta News First is the account that we're streaming on right now. You can also text us, 470-777-WANF. That is 470-777-9263. So if you're maybe watching on Roku, any other place, similar to that, you can shoot us a text, and we can read the text, and then I can respond to your question, your comment, or your concern. And Crystal Reed commenting on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in and for watching, Crystal. If anyone else on the YouTube stream right now has questions, comments, concerns, again, give me a holler. Temperatures, 50s, 60s now. Let's walk you through that forecast hour by hour. Temperatures are going to trend cooler. Maybe trying to get that pup out for the final dog walk of the evening. I would suggest a light jacket. Temperatures cool. We have the clouds, and we have a bit of a breeze. So much cooler this evening than even yesterday evening. Yesterday evening, we're starting to cool off a bit after that record high temperature of 87. Still going to give you a green paw print. No rain. We have some clouds, maybe some patchy fog, that breeze, and cooler temperatures in the 50s and in the 60s. Out the door tomorrow morning, would not call it cold, but temperature is cooler. In fact, technically, we're warmer than we should be for this time of year. Normal low in Atlanta is 50. Tomorrow, we're forecasting 56 for morning low. So it's a far cry from, waking up to temperatures in the lower 60s. Maybe not too far of a cry, but it's cooler than many of our mornings last week. But now we are tracking a warming trend. After that cool start tomorrow, and after an afternoon with high temperatures in the low to mid-70s, we're going to be tracking yet another warm-up, a warming trend in the First Alert forecast. Normal high tomorrow is 71. Cooler, about where we were today, but only going 74. That's not too impressively cool, and still actually warmer than it should be for this time of year. Windy Mom 56 on YouTube. Hello to you. calling them by their avatars. Again, Wendy, maybe your name is Wendy. Nice to meet you. Nice to chat with you. If you have any other questions, comments, concerns, and you're streaming, North Georgia or in Atlanta, that's fine. If you're streaming from outside of the state of Georgia, you can also comment too. Happy to answer any questions regionally and abroad. Tina is commenting as well. Happy Sunday evening to you. Temperatures in the mid-70s in Atlanta tomorrow afternoon, upper 60s. Though Helen, Gainesville, Athens, 72. Vanessa saying, good evening, Mr. Cutter. This is Vanessa, a nice temperature in the 60s in Atlanta. It is very nice. It feels nice outside. A little cool. The breeze makes it feel even cooler, but considering we were in the 80s, we've been in the 80s for several days, nice change of pace. Nice to have cooler weather out there this evening, and nice to finally feel like the season should. Unfortunately, though, it's not going to last too long. We will warm back up. Maybe not as impressive as the upper 80s, but we will warm back up as we approach Halloween. Vanessa, again, thanks for commenting. Wendy, also commenting, you're very welcome. Thanks for tuning in and for watching. Of course, let me know where you all are watching from. Even if you're not local, even if you're not in the city of Atlanta, happy to chat with folks abroad. So notice where the coolest temperatures are tomorrow. Much like today, it's going to be up in northeast Georgia, far east Georgia, Athens, Gainesville, Hall County, Lake Lanier, maybe Dahlonega, Lumpkin County, then on up into Helen, and also Rabun County, Clayton. Hour-by-hour forecast, it's going to be a battle of sun and clouds again tomorrow. Not a completely sunny day by any stretch of the imagination. That's kind of another difference today from the past several days. Much more in the way of clouds. Same scenario tomorrow. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s by lunchtime with a breeze, and the battle between sun and clouds. So I do think that lunch hour tomorrow, if you have lunch plans and you plan on eating outside, maybe even a work lunch or something like that, jacket not a bad idea, especially if you're midtown, downtown, Buckhead, wind between those buildings, sitting in the shade. It can be a little bit chilly, but we will top out in the 70s tomorrow afternoon. And in the first alert 7-day forecast, temperatures continue to warm from there. We're back in the upper 70s to near 80 by the middle of the week. Look at Wednesday, hitting 80, though that is in Atlanta. If you're up in the mountains, if you're in the North Metro, East Georgia, probably mid to upper 70s. But Rome, LaGrange, Atlanta, down towards Eatonton or so, some of our warmer spots, probably 80 to 82 pretty easily. Next Wednesday afternoon. Thursday, Halloween afternoon, once again 80 degrees. But for the trick-or-treaters out there, thankfully, forecasting some cooler conditions. Of course, that 80 is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We will cool off after that point with temperatures in the 60s and 70s for trick-or-treating time, kind of that prime time for going out, grabbing candy, exploring the neighborhood. So a little milder than it typically is for this time of year, but then again, it is better than trick-or-treating with actual temperatures in the 80s. And we're going to keep the forecast pretty warm going into next weekend. High temperatures upper 70s to near 80. May not break a record, but that technically is warmer than normal. No real legitimate chance of rain in the first alert forecast. And want to remind you that if Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, the official climate site for the city of Atlanta, does not record at least a trace of rain by 11:59 p.m. on October 31st, Halloween night, this will be the driest calendar month in recorded history in Atlanta. Driest October in recorded history and driest month altogether. Not the driest period of weather we have ever seen. We would need, 40, 50 or so days of rain, or without rain, I should say. 40 to 50 days without rain to really approach and then pass and break that record streak. Bonnie Phillips is watching from Chicago, and it's a little bit cooler up there. You guys kind of got a little taste of the chill before we did down here, but thanks for sending it our way, Bonnie. A little cooler here in Metro Atlanta, North Georgia, and we're not complaining. Bonnie, we came off of several days of record heat, near record-breaking heat. Temperatures in the 80s. The leaves were changing. It was pretty looking, but not pretty feeling, and certainly not feeling, Bonnie, like fall typically does. Though, we're further south than you. We're down in Georgia. Typical swings in temperature, but this is a little more extreme than normal with temperatures in the upper 80s yesterday afternoon. Today, some areas stuck in the 50s, city of Atlanta in the 70s, and we still did have LaGrange, Cleveland, Randolph counties in Alabama surpass 80, but now cooling down in those spots too. Looks like the comments have slowed down just a little bit. Want to say thanks for watching, for tuning in to Atlanta News First Plus. Also want to remind you, as we take a gorgeous look of Atlanta, that's Buckhead in the foreground, Midtown, downtown there in the distance, looking south from Sandy Springs. I want to remind you, full forecast is always available at atlantanewsfirst.com and on the go. 10-day forecast in the First Alert weather app. I'm going to join Joy Lynn Akron on Atlanta News First on Peachtree TV at 10 p.m. It's Atlanta CW affiliate. And then we will be on a little late tonight, right around 11:30 on CBS WANF with your complete First Alert forecast, latest news headlines. Get outside if you can this evening. I know it's already a little late, but enjoy the cooler air and have a great work week.